Hello, this is John from RPGs and More, and in today's second video, I want to talk about a very, in my opinion, apparently, I should preface that. Apparently, I believe this is an underutilized utility within the Dungeons and Dragons community and RPGs in general, and that is the free basic rule set that people can use. Now, there's a lot of places that don't do free basic rule sets because they're really running an OSR kind of game, and it's already pretty basic. And so if they put something out, then there's not much you're going to add to it. And that's fine. Like I'm not adding those people. They're fantastic. I love their material. I have a lot of it on my shelves, on my shelves. So just know if that's your situation, you're a small press, you're not. This is not coming for you. Okay, so don't worry about that. The only thing I'm thinking about is like the big companies like WotC or Wizards of the Coast. But here's something that Wizards of the Coast did, and they did this from the beginning of the release of 5th edition. I've seen a few videos about this, but they're all 7 years old as far as I can tell. There's very little content on this that is more recent. And that is the fact that Wizards of the Coast puts out a basic set of the Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition rules for free on their website. Absolutely free. If you want to learn how to play D&D, you don't even need to buy the starter set. You can go to their website, and I'll put a link to the page below this video. I've mentioned it before. If you go to the main page of the Wizards of the Coast Dungeons and Dragons website and you scroll down to the bottom, it's the black space, and there's a bunch of links there that link to different sections of the page, and one of those is basic rules. Click on that link and you're going to be taken to a page that has a basic introduction of what's in the basic rules PDF, and then there's this little box at the bottom, little box, easy to scroll past and miss if you're like, I want to look at the pictures. And that is the link to download this PDF. It's not front and center on their website. You have to look for it, but it's there. It's been there this whole time. So anyone can go to their website and download the basic rules, the D&D basic rules PDF. It's 180 pages long. And it runs you through the entirety of all the core sections of 5th edition. In fact, when you look at it, it actually has all the same kind of information on it that you would see in the old basic edition sets of D&D back in the 80s. So you've got your humans, your elves, your dwarves, and your halflings. No other ancestries or races are present. It is all. It's just those four core, the ones that form like the nucleus of what we've known to become Dungeons and Dragons. Then there is the fighter, the rogue, the wizard, and the cleric, and that's it. Those four core classes as well. Because what this does is it strips away all the extraneous stuff from 5th edition. Like a lot of the options, almost all the options are gone. The only options that remain is within the four core races. You can pick one of two sub races. You kind of have to, so you can decide if you want your character to be like a hill dwarf or a mountain dwarf. But that's really the only choice you make during that. And then for the classes, you get one archetype for each one, and it's the kind of the traditional one, the main one, the one that most people anticipate or kind of assume is going to be coming out of playing the game. So for the fighter, you get the champion archetype, and then I don't remember what the others are because I haven't gotten that far in my reread of this. I printed this out on my computer. I was thinking about trying to get it professionally printed, but a lot of companies weren't really taking it because either they were afraid that it was, they weren't allowed to print it because of some proprietary reason, even though at the bottom of the page on tiny print, it says permission given to print and or copy this work for private use. It says it right on the page. It's on the watermark. You are cleared to do so as long as it's for your personal use and you're not giving it away to other people or or trying to resell it or what other any other shady stuff that people will try. So if you're just making it for yourself, you should be good to go. But companies are being very careful right now because they're trying to avoid any accusations of piracy and being complicit. So be very careful. I still be careful. Just anticipate that you're probably going to get a lot of no's when you're going around trying to get this professionally printed. So my recommendation is you get some of these folders that have the 3 tabs on it, and then buy yourself a ream of paper and an extra ink cartridge or 2, and just print out your own copy. If your printer will do the front and back of a page on one page, then you can get it done in about 90 pages. If not, you're going to need the whole 180 in order to get these rules printed out. But you fit it into one or more of these folders, and you've got yourself your own basic set. And the only thing you had to pay out was the materials. You can have it if you want to keep it as a PDF and not even print it out. Then you've got it for free, and you don't have to do anything. So again, we've got the 4 core races, the 4 core classes, and then all the rules that you need to play all of that from level 1 to level 20. There is also a small bestiary included in here. There is rules about how to create, how to use the challenge rating system in this game. There's some magic items included as well. There's rules for almost everything. Here's what's not there. Okay, you've only got 1 archetype per class. You only have 2 of the sub races per race or per ancestry, if you prefer that term. I know that things have developed since then, and I'm just using the terms that are in this sheet, in this PDF. So I apologize. I'm not trying to be rude. That's what's here. I'm sure that Wizards at some point will update that. If they when they release 5.5, they'll probably update the wording on even this one as well. The last time it was updated was 2018, so it has been updated more recently, but it's just not there yet. Anyway, the point is that it's there. It is there. It is free. You can take that, and then you just get yourself a set of dice or a dice app on your phone, and you've got years worth of adventuring goodness at the same level of complexity as the basic edition or first edition D&D for a lot of people. There are no feats. The rules for feats, rules for multi-classing, those things are not included in this PDF. That's part of where they save the page count, is they kind of get rid of a lot of that. There are some background stuff in here. Not a whole lot. I'm not going to sit here and try to go through it all in excruciating detail because we'd be here forever. The point is that these things are here. It does talk about flaws and bonds. So those things are present. Backgrounds are present. Just a couple of them, not a whole lot, but enough to give you an idea of how they work. So that really expands the content out a little bit. There are the spells that these characters use. Each spellcaster has a limited but very present list of spells that will take you from 1st level to 20th level for that character, and have some kind of choice for each one. So everything is there. And I think this is a fantastic resource. This is something that people can grab. Let's say you're a game master who you're pretty solidly stuck in the OSR. However, you really want to give 5th edition a try, maybe because that's what your children or your relatives or if you're running a club, the kids that come to the club or the young people that come to the club, that's what they want to play. Or maybe you just want to broaden the scope of what you're playing, or you're just curious. You're like, I'm curious about 5th edition. I keep hearing so much about it. I tried playing it a while ago, but there was so many complicated things in it that I just got lost and I didn't understand it, and I just tired of it and I don't want to deal with it. But at the same time, I want to try it again. This is a way of doing that without, like, you don't need all of this to play 5th edition. You don't need it. Throw it out. It's not required. That's not 5th edition. That's like, you know, it's all bells and whistles. It's nice. They're wonderful in order to include all these extra complications if that's where you're wanting to go. But if you want to stick with the basic rules, you're still playing Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition. And if you want to take these basic rules and you say, you know what, I want to house rule out the death saving throws because I don't like those. That's your house rule. You're good. Don't worry about it. Okay? Just make it clear to your potential players that, hey, I'm going to house rule this part out because I don't like it. If you want to house rule how the rests work because you think that mitigates resource management, I'd say go for it. Oh, why not? Just let people know that I'm house ruling this and this is my house rule. Here it is in writing so that you can see it and refer to it during the game if you want to. But then everything else is the same as is in 5th edition. And, excuse me. And that's okay because 5th edition encourages house rules. They have those same phrases in there that the older editions have that talk about, you know, the GM is the final arbiter of the rules. If you want to do something different, you just have to change it. But you're still going to be playing 5th edition. You're still going to be playing Dungeons and Dragons. Excuse me. Whew. And therefore, you can still tap into everything else that's been released for the game, as well as all the people that want to play 5th edition. And that's the real gem of trying to find a way to play in an OSR style with that mindset of let's create exploration and adventure without all the bells and whistles necessarily, but with all the good story. You can do that with 5th edition with a couple of house rules. It's not a one-for-one conversion. There are going to be some differences, and that's just a fact because there are differences between basic edition D&D and AD&D. I mean, that's just true. So let's not, you know, we don't have to get lost in the whole like edition wars. That's not what this is about. Because I am absolutely an advocate of playing older editions of the Dungeons & Dragons game or playing in various versions of OSR because there's a lot of gold out there. There's a lot of stuff that can make your game just come alive in very visceral and different ways. Mork Borg or Merkbjerg, I can never pronounce it right, and I'm sorry, but that game is a prime example of taking the core skeleton of what we know of as D&D and turning it into this like grotesque monstrosity of awesomeness that makes you want to just like listen to the heavy metal and headbang and be like, yeah, we're gonna do some damage, yeah. And that's a cornucopia of incredible awesomeness that exists. And for those of you who are like die-hard 5th edition players, I like implore you to read these other versions of the game too, because there's swathes of story that can be found in those systems, especially the really specialized ones that you're not going to necessarily find in 5th edition. And it's really cool. It's not all, you know, like people like to paint these things like people that play 5th edition are all about being snowflakes and special and blah, 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 blah. And people that are OSR are all about, you know, being old curmudgeons and they only do blah, blah. And they're all like nostalgia and all this stuff. They're not. None of us fits into these little things, these little like labels that we keep throwing at each other because we're lazy. No, we're all in this for different things, and most of all, we're all in here to have fun. And if you're not trying to have fun, what the heck are you doing? Like, seriously, you know, come on, let's have fun. Come to my table, bring some beer, bring some chips, let's roll some games. I don't care about all this other stuff I want to have fun at the table, and I'm going to use the rule set that allows everyone to have fun. And so here's this. These are ideas of how you can take 5th edition, play 5th edition with 5th edition people, and still have it look familiar enough to you that you can grab Keep on the Borderlands off of your shelf, especially the Goodman Games 5th edition conversion of Keep on the Borderlands, because then you don't have to convert a darn thing. Take that, take these basic rules. You've got that original basics box set right there in your hands. It's not cheap because that's like a $50 book. But the point is that you've got that, and suddenly you can introduce your kids or your club people to the Keep on the Borderlands using these basic rules to, in the same way that you were introduced to the game in an earlier time. Or if you are newer to the hobby, then you can actually look back and experience that style of play and see for a moment, maybe see why the people who are so into the OSR really cling to it or really are passionate about it. And it's not just the nostalgia. It really is a different style of play, and it's perfectly valid. It is the style of play that tends to happen with 5th edition is also perfectly valid. It's just different, and that again, this is why. But a lot of people are like, oh my, I can't play 5th edition because it's so expensive. It's so expensive. I've got to get all these books to be able to do it. And the player's handbook is like, $45 or whatever it is, right now on Amazon or a friendly local game store. It's so expensive, and I just don't have the time. There's too many rules. There's too many books. Like all 3 books, and that's gonna be like $100 almost, or over $100 in some cases. And I just don't have the time and the money and everything to do it. Like, dude or dudette, chill, cool your jets. Go to the Wizards of the Coast website, find the Basic Rules tab, download this PDF. You've got it all, okay? You'll get more if you buy those books, but you don't need to. You don't need to pay a dime to play 5th edition if you are okay with playing off of PDFs. And if you're upset because you're like, I can't find a PDF of the player's handbook and I only read off of PDFs, well, dude, do that. Grab this PDF. Because you know what? Yeah, you're not going to have all the little announced things. You're not going to have the feats. You're not going to have all this other stuff. You don't need it. If all you want to do is experiment with the game and see if you like it, then this PDF is your ticket, and it's free. And that's kind of really what I wanted to talk about. Is we've got all these things going on. We've got all these like edition wars, and people getting upset at each other, and I'm just like, and it blows my mind. It's passion. People get passionate about stuff, but then people also get frustrated, and they get upset because they feel like people are telling them that they have to shell out more money to do other things, or you have to keep up with the Joneses in order to buy all these products. And like I'm guilty, as you can see. I have it all on my shelf. I buy a lot of stuff. I don't own everything. I don't want to own everything. I don't need to own everything. I buy them because they're interesting. Now, here's the other part. If you do buy these things, you can use them with the Basic Rules PDF because it's all the same rules. So let's say I really like how the Basic Rules handles classes. We only need the 4 core classes. But I've got a player who really wants to be, I forget the official name for it, but the hare or the rabbit person from the Witchlight book. And they're like, I really want to try that out. I think it looks like a lot of fun. I'm like, okay, make that, so you take that, maybe you as the DM, if you have a copy of it, you look over it and you pick which archetype you're going to use in your game setting, and that's the only one, okay? Or not archetype, but the sub races. You can pick the 2 sub races. Like, there's only these 2 types, and the player says, "Cool, that's the one I want. That's the one I'm going to use." And then they take the class from the Basic Rules, and they still don't have feats. They still don't have all that other special stuff. Yes, it will be possible for people to do shenanigans with this. I'm not saying that's impossible. It's still going to be possible, but it's not going to be, you're not going to have the feats. You're not going to have all this other crazy stuff. It's going to make much more sense to you. And you can control what comes into your game to make sure that what comes into your game is what you want to be there. You are not obligated to use everything. If someone tries to tell you that you have to use everything, they're really, I'm sorry, but this is one of the few times I say that you're wrong. You are not obligated to use all this. You can. I think that people can use all these things, and I think that it's really cool when they do. It's not an obligation. The only thing you are obliged to use with 5th edition is the basic rules or the player's handbook. And even then, the DM can say, in my world, these things aren't here. So again, this is an underutilized tool. I think we need to talk about it more. I think that we need to think about it more. Think about what this kind of means and use it. And I might even use it for a solo run or you know, something small on my channel, just to kind of show you can do. I don't think I need to. I think most people understand. Hi, it's my cat. I think most people understand what you can and can't do with D&D. I don't think I really need to showcase that. That's what some of the solo games are for, is really just to kind of showcase how simple other systems are and how much you can tell a story without using complicated rules. With this one, I don't think it's really necessary, but it could be fun. If you want to see that, leave a comment down below and let me know that you would like to see me take the basic rules PDF for a test drive. Thank you for listening. I know this has been like a bit of a ramble. I've gone on at least 2 tangents that I'm aware of. I hope it's at least enjoyable for some people. I'm really passionate about role-playing games. I'm really passionate about why we play, not a little bit of the how and a little bit of the with what, but really the thing that gets me is the why. And I think that is one of the more fundamental questions of role-playing games. That might be a different topic for another video. So again, thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did enjoy it, please leave a comment down below. Let me know what you found interesting. Maybe give the video a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel for more stuff like this. Again, I'm John. This is RPGs and More. And thank you so much. Peace be with you. Happy gaming. Bye-bye.